Coming up next, live coverage of the Irondequoit Town Board on ICAT 12, Irondequoit's government access channel.
Good afternoon. I call to order the special town board meeting of April 25th, 2017. Visitors are invited to join the board members to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Councilwoman Barnum.
Here.
Councilwoman Hush-LaRae.
Here.
Councilman Perdicone.
Here.
Councilman Weiner.
Here.
Supervisor Seeley.
Here.
And Attorney for the town.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good afternoon, everyone. We have a relatively short agenda for this special town board meeting. The majority of the resolutions we will take up will allow us to commence work on our capital improvement program, certain items of our capital improvement program for this year. This special board meeting was necessitated in order to allow that work to be put into motion as soon as possible as we get into the construction season. The timing of it was a little off sync with our past board meeting from last week. The lengthy process that goes into bonding for money. The terminus of that was shortly after our regular town board meeting of last week, so we deemed it necessary to call this special board meeting to approve the appropriate transfers for certain projects in order to get work, in order to commence work on some of these projects as soon as possible. So with that, I will allow Commissioner Kiley to explain these as they come up, and Madam Clerk, we can go to the first item for board action.
Item number 1, authorizing the award of bid for the Lakeshore Boulevard Sidewalk Installation Project.
Motion?
Moved.
And a second? Thank you. Bob, why don't you just go through these one at a time, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The first resolution before the town board this afternoon is the award for the Lakeshore Boulevard Sidewalk Construction Project. This project would take place from Colebrook Drive, headed eastbound towards Camp Eastman Way. As residents in that neighborhood know, there's a section of sidewalk that is not connected on the south side of Lakeshore Boulevard, thus really making residents cross Lakeshore not once but twice to get to Camp Eastman from those neighborhoods in the northwest quadrant of town. So we posted an advertisement for bids. The lowest accepted bid was Hewitt Young Electric LLC in the amount of $135,815. We look forward to pursuing this project with this lowest responsible bidder.
Thanks, Bob. My understanding, if I recall, in 2015, this was a proposal we received through our neighborhood enhancement program. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I'm glad we can, I think at the time, we determined that funding through the neighborhood enhancement program, this would have exceeded the whole program in itself, but we told the folks who had submitted the petition that if we were able to identify a appropriate funding stream, we would like to see this put into execution. And just another question, is the county exploring a crosswalk at any point in this stretch?
They are, Mr. Supervisor. So you are correct on both fronts. Yes, this was an original 2015 NEP application that definitely exceeded the funds available at that time. So while a great idea, certainly a resident explored this and gave this opportunity, this idea to the town board and the Department of Public Works, and we're certainly thankful for that. It's a very good idea, and we certainly look forward to doing that. Actually, in the 2016 NEP applications, another request from a homeowner, a neighborhood association, came in for a crosswalk at Colebrook Drive that would link going across Lakeshore Boulevard. We put that on hold, knowing that we had this project in the hopper, and so in conversations with the County of Monroe, Lakeshore Boulevard's a county road, so in conversations with County DOT and their traffic folks, they have approved a crosswalk to be placed at Camp Eastman Way, which would extend across Lakeshore, connecting Camp Eastman and the beach to the north.
Thank you. And I'll just make a note, this prefaces the next three resolutions as well. All of these projects, seeker has been conducted. We did approve our capital improvement plan earlier this year, I believe in January. So these have all been vetted for board approval, received the appropriate environmental review as well. So we're not just commencing these today. This is the end of a process to generate these projects. All right, any more questions or comments?
I'm glad that the crosswalk is being considered at Camp Eastman rather than in the other location. I think
Yeah.
it makes a lot more sense.
It certainly does. It makes a lot more sense at that location.
Thank
to allow both folks at the beach to go to Camp Eastman and vice versa.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people in that lakeside neighborhood, which I believe is south of Lakeshore Boulevard, had expressed a desire to connect to the trail along the lake and finding an appropriate crossing. So this affords them hopefully a safer crossing. They're going to cross anyway. We want to make sure they're doing it the most
Yeah,
logical.
I've crossed it many times
It's not
myself
safe.
by bike, so
not safe.
that'll be nice.
Any other further question or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 2, authorizing the award of bid for the baseball dugouts and concession stand construction.
Motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Kylie?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The resolution before the town board this afternoon awards the contract for the construction of concession stands at 117 Kings Highway North, the newly constructed baseball fields, and also awards some new dugouts to be built on the same property. It was just a short time ago that the grounds just north of the DPW were converted from just an open area to baseball fields in the early summer of last year. And so this is really phase 2, and with really support from some of our folks in government. I think this was a grant, partially covered through a grant through Senator Funke's office. We're certainly more than happy to award this contract for the construction of the concession stands. The concession stand was open publicly. This bid package was open publicly, and Kircher Construction Incorporated was the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $410,000.
Any questions or comments?
No, the only thing, Bob, after this, I mean, how quick they're gonna get on this? Relatively soon, you know?
It would certainly be my expectation that we
Okay.
would want to move on this very rapidly. I know that there's a lot of folks, even with nice days like today, I bet there's folks out there right now playing baseball. So we certainly want them to move on this as soon as possible. We do anticipate having the construction occur while really there's recreational use going on. So having a construction site active while still maintaining and being able to use those fields is going to be a primary concern for me, and I want to make sure that that occurs. So yes, absolutely, we want to have them move as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll just note, for those watching at home, we are doing our first ever opening day parade for the Little Leaguers on Saturday morning, this coming Saturday morning. So they'll get at least a few weekends of playtime, and then have to kick them off for the summer while we finish this. So we're in it for the long play, as they say. Any more question or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 3, authorizing the award of bid for Camp Eastman Athletic Field construction.
Motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Thanks, John. Commissioner Kylie, explanation?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The resolution before the town board this afternoon authorizes the award to Pooler Construction. And this resolution paves the way for the construction of 4 new athletic fields at Camp Eastman. So currently on the south side of, just south of the current spray park, there's a large berm and 1 athletic field. That athletic field is used by both soccer and lacrosse. At this time, we are pursuing an award to Pooler to regrade that berm and install 3 additional regulation-size fields. So these athletic fields can be used for both soccer and lacrosse. And so at the conclusion of this project, there will be 4 regulation U19 fields at Camp Eastman. Very exciting. Very exciting to know that the bids came in well under the anticipated cost. The final bid package price was $770,938.70, and I will note that is with sod. So we put this out to bid not knowing the price and knowing that we had an engineer's estimate of about $1 million. This came considerably under budget, and so we're very excited for this bid package to get to the town board this afternoon.
Thanks, Bob. And I'll also note $500,000 of this project is derived from 2 separate state grants, one from the New York State Assembly from Majority Leader Morelli, the other from Senator Funke, both in the amount of $250,000. So in the aggregate, these 4 items, it's a lot of it's a heavy investment, but I'll note a large majority of it, actually I think beyond a majority of the money is in fact state money, which still taxpayer money, but we thank the state of New York for their assistance with that, and it lessens the potentially amount we have to finance for these projects. So we're glad that the bids came in much more modestly than we might have projected. Any further question or comment?
When do you think these will be ready? They have to grow in for a bit?
So as soon as this bid package is awarded, we will be in contact with the vendor after bonds come in for the vendor, for the contractor, excuse me. We anticipate construction to occur immediately. In the original package, we did have some clauses where we wanted seed established by the beginning of June, knowing that it's sod going in instead of a seed. I think that we can certainly still abide by the beginning of June to have a lot of the rough grading and potentially sod rolling out. So with sod, we certainly need to make sure that we have adequate water to make sure that, as we go into the heat of the summer, we're able to continue to make sure that that's sod and care for it. So my best case scenario with this add-on of sod, we're looking mid-June to the end of June.
But that sod needs to grow for a while before you can play on it.
Absolutely right. So just as with the baseball fields here on the town hall campus, there needs to be several cuttings to establish that root and make sure that that root takes into the material below the sod. So we would certainly want to, while I think folks are going to be very excited for this and we're very excited to start using it, we're certainly going to look to have people stay off it for at least some time until we can get a couple different cuts on the field prior to playing.
Is there a sprinkler system as part of the plan?
That is one thing that we are currently going to look via change order with Pooler Construction to ensure that we do have adequate water on site. We included sod as part of the bid package just to see what kind of price we could get, and knowing that it came in so favorable to the town, we are going to move in that fashion, and so we will be installing a yard hydrant similar to what we did at the baseball fields to ensure that we can water it long-term for this summer and then beyond.
Anyone else? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Item number 4, authorizing an interfund loan from the general fund balance to Capital Project Fund 368.
Motion
Moved.
and a second.
Second.
Thanks. Bob, I can take this one. This is relative to it tied with the previous resolution that we took up, just authorizes the interfund transfer. It's a loan from the general fund, and it will be backfilled through the state grants that we anticipate receiving and are currently processing. As many know, generally the process with state grants is you expend the money up front, and then hopefully very shortly thereafter receive the reimbursement from the state of New York. And I will note the state has, to their credit, the Dormitory Authority has become much more efficient with this, all relative, but our staff continues to work with the Dormitory Authority to process this along. So as I referenced, $500,000 for the Camp Eastman Fields is coming from 2 separate state legislative grants. This is a necessary resolution to process that. Annie, was that correct? Perfect, she said. Okay. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, and I just want to also thank, speaking of Annie, our comptroller for her work on our capital improvement plan. It's a lengthy process. It requires a great amount of due diligence, and she's very good at helping shepherd it along on behalf of the town. So thank you, Annie, and thank you, Bob, as well, and Deputy Commissioner Sinton, who was not here today. Madam Clerk.
Item number 5, authorizing the appointment of a police lieutenant in the Arundecoyt Police Department.
Motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Chief?
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to fill a vacancy that existed in our agency for about 14 months and put forward the name of Sergeant Mark Bean to be promoted to lieutenant. He's been with our agency for 19 years. He has served in several capacities in the patrol division, a technicians member, a DARE officer, an investigator, a crisis negotiator, and then most recently, for the last 4 years, he's been in charge of our criminal investigations unit. Certainly, Mark has taken a leadership role in the Arundecoyt Police Department as we have worked through several police-related projects for the agency. He has successfully coordinated several high-profile investigations and critical incidents. He's an exceptional asset to our agency. He has assumed several duties and responsibilities in the absence of the captain over the last 14 months. Highly rated by the interview panel that consisted of Deputy Supervisor Perticone and Director of Personnel Jason Vanette, as well as myself. He's a highly decorated police officer. He's eligible to be promoted for this position based upon his status on the civil service list for police lieutenant, and I highly recommend his candidacy for this position.
Thanks, Chief. Any questions or comments? Well, I'm very happy to advance this and support this. During my tenure, pending Lieutenant Bean has been a great asset, and from both myself and I think for the department, but also I'll note his reputation in the community outside of town hall. People speak very highly of him, and that's the stakeholders that we engage with. I just think Mr. Bean is a very, very highly thought of and credible law enforcement officer. So very happy to see him continue his ascent through the department, and look forward to continue to working with you. Anyone else?
No. I think, we went through a process, and, we had some very, very, very good candidates, and it was a good couple of days we went through, and, Sergeant Bean is obviously ready for the challenge, and basically we're in good hands. I feel real confident the right guy's going to be, in this position, and I look forward to work with him as well.
Anyone else? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Lieutenant Bean, would you please stand up and wave to the people at home? Okay, and now pursuant to Section 105, Article 7 of the Public Officers Law, I move that we enter into a brief executive session for discussions regarding proposed litigation. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Barbara, you're staying here?
resolution, okay, have a motion, please?
Moved.
And a second?
Second?
Thank you. This resolution would authorize attorney for the town, Harder Seacrest Emery LLP, to commence a legal proceeding to challenge and set aside the tax charges memorandum issued by Monroe County December 30th, 2016, and to compel the County of Monroe to comply with requirements of real property tax law, Section 936. This is necessitated by a proposed policy the County of Monroe issued to towns late last year after our respective budgets were set. In effect, the county is using what the town has deemed incorrect legal assessment as to what they are allowed by law to guarantee, what sort of charges or taxes they are allowed by law to guarantee to towns as we set our levies. In short, the town, for a host of reasons, is aggressive with code enforcement. We work to ensure to maintain quality of life, that if property maintenance is unkept, the town takes it upon itself to notify the resident, and in some cases, actually remedy the property maintenance issue pursuant to town law. We do it in a transparent way. Complementary to that, over the past few years, we have become more aggressive in the interest of public safety in demolishing homes that are unkept, not only unkept, but those that represent a public safety hazard. And as such, affix the charges associated with those property maintenance cost to the property tax bill, as we are allowed to do by state law, which is pretty clear on that. In short, the county thinks they are no longer required or allowed to guarantee those taxes, which has put into jeopardy potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in town tax revenue that was forecasted last year in our 2017 budget. So this was really a retroactive policy implemented. We're fearful that this policy would impair our ability to enforce our town code and deal with the growing zombie home issue. And as such, and very reluctantly, really, I advanced this resolution to allow us to file an Article 78 petition challenging the county's proposed policy, which would potentially withhold hundreds of thousands of dollars to the town and other towns as well. We're not the only town that this would impact. It would impact every town in Monroe County. So as such, in the best interest of the residents, we are going to proceed in this manner. And reluctantly, I will add. Town Attorney, anything to add?
Nope, that's
Okay.
about it.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Now, this concludes our body of work for special town board meeting April 25th. The next town workshop meeting will be Tuesday, May 9th, 2017, 4 p.m. in the Broderick Meeting Room here at Town Hall. Next regular town board meeting will be Tuesday, May 16th, 2017, 7 p.m. here in the Broderick Meeting Room at Town Hall. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
And a second.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Government Access Channel.